Hello friends, and welcome back to the Cold War Prepper. My name is Lee. For those of you joining us for the first time, I hope you enjoy what you're seeing and get something out of it, and that you would hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell icon to be alerted whenever I have something show up. And that really helps with the algorithm, so I would greatly appreciate that. Have a fantastic group of people. Read other people's comments. We have some fantastic people with some great additions to what I put out. And it's just as important to read what they add as to what I have to say. Just a phenomenal group of people, and I'm very thankful for all of you. So if you're new, get in the habit of subscribing, getting the alerts, and making your comments. Today, what I would like to do is while I was in the hospital, the world changed. Golly, did it change. And I really wasn't that interested in the news or anything else when I was taking the pain pills and in the bed and everything else, but when I came out, I kind of checked on things, and it's getting bad. So I think what stimulated this was the UN Security Council, of all things. The UN Security Council is now making preparations for the fact that there's only about, they said 10 weeks of wheat left in the world before we run out. And so they think that that's a worldwide security implication. Sorry, I'm adjusting this hip so I can sit without too much pain. But right now I'm trying to stay on the Tylenol, and that's it. So I said, wow, things have changed. So I started taking a look at everything that's been transpiring over the past week, and wow, things have changed. So I wanted to put out, what would I do? I've got a shopping list here, and Helen's going to go out to she went to H-E-B earlier today. She's going to go out to Walmart either this afternoon or tomorrow. And so what are some of the things I would like for her to pick up? Because I'm kind of immobile right now. So let's take a look at what the world has to offer us right now. We've got war, the war going on. Of course, that's exacerbating the food shortage, but we do have the food shortage caused by the drought, caused by lack of fertilizer, caused by problems in the distribution and supply chain management, caused by lack of fuel. Farmers aren't being able to get their stuff into the ground. Therefore, they won't. If you don't put it in the ground, you can't take it out of the ground. We've still got leftover problems from the lockdown that we had for the last year and a half, 2 years. War, food shortages, supply chain disruptions, fuel shortages, power shortages, drought and water shortages, mass migration. It's going to cause a greater stress on an existing supply chain. So all those illegal aliens crossing the border, they're now going to have to be fed somehow or other, going to have to be provisioned. We're going to have to take care of them. So that adds another ounce or two of pressure to that very delicate supply chain. We've got massive political division. I would not be surprised if there was an armed conflict inside our country by the end of the summer. I mean, Congress yesterday just declared basically anybody who disagrees with them and is going to be labeled a white supremacist, and they're going to sick the FBI and Department of Homeland Security and everybody else on them. And but they, when they're talking about terrorism, they didn't say a thing about the Black Panthers, the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, or any of those other groups who have actually done damage. It's just we white people who disagree with the Democrats are the terrorist threat to our nation, and I don't know how long that's going to last. The baby formula shortage. Wow, where did that come from? And then I already told you about the UN Security Council. I'm reading from notes. The UN Security Council and their 10 weeks of wheat left. My personal take on that, if there's 10 weeks left, once people find out that there's only a 10-week supply left and this becomes more common knowledge, people are going to start hoarding a little bit. People are going to panic. I'm going to say it's probably going to get down to 5 weeks, maybe 4, 3. So look for severe food shortages, especially in the wheat area, somewhere around the end of June. There's also, they're calling now Spudpocalypse. It's apocalypse and spud put together, Spudpocalypse, I think it is, because as I said a couple of videos ago, I think that potatoes are going to be in critical short supply here in the very near future. And then this is going to be a cascading catastrophe as it goes along, because think of people who need to feed their children. Think of how desperate people are for baby formula right now, want to take care of their children. what will a parent who is watching their child starve do if they know that you have food that could keep their child alive? This, and I think that's why the UN Security Council is very, very concerned about it. Sri Lanka and Yemen and some of the areas in South Africa, or in southern portion of Africa, I should say, not South Africa, the country. And then we've got some drought going on in Brazil. The Chinese have terrible rice productions for the last couple of years, and they're storing all the wheat they can get. Soon, I have a feeling we're going to have a world food war happening, and that's kind of scary. So I think it causes us to have to shift our thinking in how we've been preparing our food stock. When I first started this, 40, 50 years ago, I was looking for things that I could accumulate over time and store for a long period of time so that I could consume them in a relatively short period of time. So I was looking for packages that had 25, 30-year shelf life. I could buy it today, use it sometime in the future, and that would last throughout whatever it was. And we figured that whatever major catastrophe there was, I'm going to keep shuffling because I have to keep moving this hip. I apologize for that, but it can't stay in one place too long. It just kind of gets a little bit tender, and I'm trying to keep it down to where I'm only using Tylenol. Excuse me. But we've got to shift that thinking. The way I thought 40 years ago is no longer valid for the way I think today. So the way I'm thinking today is we're not going to have food in 30 days. That may last up to 7 years. Maybe even longer. I'm using 7 because it's biblical. That's what happened with Joseph and Pharaoh, the 7 years of famine. And then we also take a look at some of the great famines we've seen. They've been in 7-year cycles. If we take a look at the Great Depression, we didn't even talk about economic failure or financial failure. The Great Depression from 1929 to 1941 was actually in 3 phases. They had 1929 to 1931 was what they called the Great Recession, and they figured it was going to be just like the early 1908 recession, where it was going to be there for a short while, then it would come back, and everything would come back. And then we had the actual stock market decline, which happened, the stock market failure from 31 to 33. And then 1933 to 1941 was the recovery from the Great Depression. And you've got things like the Tennessee Valley Authority, and the Lower Colorado River Authority, which were established in 1933, the Rural Electrification Act of 1933, where they started putting out co-ops to get electricity out to the rural farmers. So they had all these different work programs for people to get them back to work and get the economy moving. We had the Dust Bowl at the exact same time. So a lot of that is looking like we're historically replicating what happened back in the 20s, 30s, and up until the automation of our industry for World War II. So what I'm saying now is, my thinking is, I've got to acquire a whole bunch of food that will last for the next 5 to 7 years. I don't care about long-term shelf life. I don't care if it's 30-year shelf life. What I want is something I can store by today and keep in my pantry that will keep my family alive for the next 5 to 7 years. So some of it may be, the prepper type stuff that you're seeing, My Patriot Supply and all that kinds of stuff, the 25, 30-year shelf life, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a lot simpler than that. So I'm shifting it, and with that, this is my plan. I'm going to use the planning of 2 figures. Number 1, how many calories my family needs, or each individual in my family needs on a daily basis, and how many grams of protein. So I'm looking for 2,400 calories per female, along with 17 grams of protein, and I'm looking for around 3,000 to 3,200 calories of food, plus around 81 grams of protein per meal. So that's my planning figure. So my goal is I'm going to provide that as best I can. So I'm still going to use some of my favorite freeze-dried companies. Nutrient Survival. They have the best protein shakes that there are on the market, both vanilla and chocolate. And you can visit that. That'll be a link in my affiliate links down below. They also have 2 different kinds of powdered milk. Powdered eggs. And so one's the Southwest Scramble, which is a scrambled eggs concoction, and the other one's the vitamin-enriched scrambled eggs. So I think those are going to be essential to have in my pantry, because that's going to be something I can use over the course of the next 5 to 7 years, even as a whole meal. I mean, an omelet would make a fantastic meal if it's fortified with other things. Then I'm going to get some things from Thrive Life. I'll get my dairy products, and I'll also get some of my meat products. Then from Algerson Farms, I'm looking at dairy, proteins, and potatoes. Rainy Day and Foods and Emergency Essentials. I love their Alfredo sauce, their spaghetti sauce, freeze-dried, lasts a long time. I have to get the Alfredo sauce because we have a member of our family who's allergic to tomatoes. So if we're going to do pasta dishes, then I have to have the Alfredo sauce for her. Okay, so here are the things that are on my shopping list that I'm giving to Helen, and we're going to be getting over the course of the next couple days. More oatmeal and cream of wheat. Very high in calories, and pretty high in proteins as well. Just add water hash browns, little cans of hash browns. Corned beef hash. Instant pancake batter and maple syrup, so that we can use those for breakfast. Dry cereals, Cheerios, Corn Flakes, Rice Krispies, Bran Flakes, shredded wheat. Notice none of these have any extra added sugar. They're all just the straight meal. Powdered milk, shelf-stable milk, dried fruit, canned fruit. And then we're going to look for peanut butter. We got 8 cans over here we got to take back. They just got recalled. I told her to pick up a whole bunch more of these large cans of peanuts and cashews. Peanuts are very high in protein and calories. We are going to get all kinds of meats: Spam, tuna, salmon, sardines, little cans of crabs, clams, and shrimp. I can't find any shrimp lately. They've been bought out. I just found another new one, and Apartment Prepper mentioned it in one of her newest videos. And it's these little cans of trout. I've got to try those. I just bought one. I got to try it and see how that goes. Roast beef, pulled pork, chicken, chili, beef stew, chicken a la king. Swanson makes the chicken a la king. It's fantastic. I lived through college on that. The Denny Moore beef stew is fantastic. Chili mac. I think Chef Boyardee makes that. Beanie weenies, cubed ham, a small ham. You can get that small, what is it? I think it's 1 pound ham that's in a can. Beans, rice, flour. I'm even looking right now on Amazon, should I be buying a bread machine and then getting different things so that I can make my own bread. Cornmeal is going to be in very short supply. Get all the cake mixes you can get. Bread mixes, biscuit mixes, muffin mixes, crackers, saltine crackers, soup crackers, all those other different types of things. Going to add that bread, that wheat, that cornmeal factor back into your foods. We do a lot of cans of green beans and then chili beans or ranch style beans or whatever. Pork and beans, soups. We really like the chunky chicken noodle. We really like the New England clam chowder. Get a lot of soups, especially those that have meat or a lot of protein in them. Instant mashed potatoes. Listen, I was looking at this. Look at this. This package of instant mashed potatoes has 110 calories per serving. And this is 4 servings. So this is a family of 4, 110 calories, and it has 4 grams of protein to boot. So, I mean, those are great things to have for your pantry. You can just go pick up. Then we're talking about packages of scalloped potatoes, au gratin potatoes, canned carrots, veg-all, cans of veg-all like you would not believe. Pasta, get all the pasta you can get all the pasta sauce you can get. Ramen. Now, a lot of people think that when I say ramen, I'm just saying throw it in the pot, cook it, add the packet, and you're good. You're not. You have to enhance it with a lot of different things. That's where that canned tuna, the clams, the shrimp, and all those other canned fishes really add to the ramen. So one of those cans can be divided among 3 or 4 packages of ramen, and you got a good meal. A little bit of veg-all. I mean, you can make a real good noodle type stew. One thing that I do, we like Le Choy Chow Mein. I grew up on that as a kid. That was our Chinese in El Paso. The Le Choy Chow Mein noodles, get plenty of that. And then one that it has totally slipped my mind. I just thought of it, and this happened the night before I broke my hip. But I noticed this at Walmart, and I said, oh my God, how in the world have I been overlooking this? The Chef Boyardee Pizza Maker. So this makes 2 complete pizzas. And so then I said, well, you know, that's just a cheese pizza. So what am I going to do to make that into a good meal? Now, this says that it is 240 calories per slice. And it says that there are 8 slices per package. So there's 16 slices here. So 240 calories, and then it's got, let me see here, 7 grams of protein just as it is. Now we're going to enhance that so we can take some of our other things, whether it be the canned tuna, sardines, anchovies, canned artichokes, black olives, the pepperoni packets, and get those and freeze them until you need them. But a jar of banana peppers. Get a can of pineapple and a can of ham, that diced ham that I found at Walmart. Make a Hawaiian style pizza. Make sure you have plenty of dried Parmesan cheese and any kind of canned fish. And that's what we're going to be looking at. That's what we're going to be focusing on over the course of the next 30 days, trying to get into our pantry. So if you want those scrambled eggs, down below, Nutrient Survival, take a look at the Thrive Life channel, see if there's anything there in the dairy or meat products, especially the cheeses. I strongly recommend you check out Rainy Day Foods. I strongly recommend you check out Emergency Essentials. And then Algerson Farms has some fantastic things. You can get them delivered almost next day delivery most of the time. So they have a very wide variety of very good products. So this is Lee, the Cold War Prepper, saying, remember, we're all in this together so we can get out the other side together. Get as much as you can for your value right now. I think that's what's going to be most important to you. Take care. Bye-bye.